It began in silence, in the hush of unspoken glances, where feelings whispered but dared not rise to the surface. I remember the first time our eyes met. Your gaze lingered, not too long but long enough to spark a warmth I couldn't name. You were sunlight wrapped in shadow, a contrast that drew me like gravity itself. I tried to look away, to pretend you hadn't caught the wind in my chest, but it was too late. The way you moved, the quiet confidence behind your laughter, the depth behind your stillness, it all etched itself into me. I told myself it was nothing, that you were just kind, just charming, just you. But there was always more, always a thrum beneath the surface, when you were near. I memorized you in fragments, how your voice dipped when you were tired, how your hands flexed when you were thinking, the way your smile could level me with its honesty. No one saw it, not even you, but I did. And in every shared word, every casual moment, I tucked away the truth. I couldn't say, I loved you, quietly, deeply, secretly. Our friendship became the garden where my secret bloomed, slowly, steadily, invisibly to everyone but me. You were the one I called when the world felt too heavy, the one who stayed on the line in silence until my storm passed. I wonder if you ever heard it, the way my voice softened just for you. I wonder if you noticed the extra second I took to answer your messages, the time I spent trying to sound like I wasn't falling apart from wanting you. There were moments when you touched my arm, or leaned close to whisper a joke, and I almost believed you felt it too. That electric pulse of something forbidden and beautiful. But I couldn't ask. I couldn't risk it. Our world was balanced on a delicate edge, and my heart was the one thing I couldn't afford to expose. So I loved you from behind locked doors, letting my affection speak in silent offerings. A playlist, a favor done without being asked, a knowing glance when no one else understood you. I gave you everything except the truth. Sometimes I hated how well I knew you, how I could see the pain in your eyes even when you smiled, how I knew the stories behind the scars you didn't talk about. You let me in, but only just enough. And I wanted to be good, wanted to be your safe place, without asking for more than you were willing to give. But still, there were nights I ached from holding it all in. I wrote your name in notebooks I'd never show anyone, left pages full of words I could never say. In my dreams you knew, you always knew, and you loved me back with the same fire I hid behind laughter and casual affection. But morning would come, and you'd still be just my friend, just the boy who made my heart tremble with every look, every laugh, every piece of your soul you didn't know you were giving. I told myself I could live like this, that loving you in secret was enough. But sometimes the silence screamed louder than any confession could. I became fluent in pretending. Every time you talked about someone else, someone you were seeing or wanted to see, I nodded and smiled, died a little, but smiled. And then you'd ask me if I was okay, and I'd lie. Because what could I say? No, I'm not okay. I'm breaking inside because you don't love me the way I love you. No, that wasn't fair to you. You weren't mine to mourn. So I swallowed it. All of it. The jealousy, the heartbreak, the longing. I became a master of deflection, a sculptor of false contentment. But inside every word you said was a thread pulling tighter around my ribs. I loved you with the kind of devotion that didn't ask for attention. I didn't want to trap you or change you. I just wanted to stay close, to be enough. Even if I wasn't the one you called yours. And in the rare moments you were sad and you leaned your head on my shoulder, I pretended it meant more than it did. It had to, or I'd shatter completely. Still, I found joy in the smallest pieces of you. The way you drank your coffee with too much sugar, the songs you sang under your breath, the stories you told with fire in your eyes. You were a universe, and I explored you like an astronaut, drifting deeper into one. I held onto our memories like constellations, arranging them in the sky of my heart, so I'd never forget the warmth of being near you. When you smiled at me with that quiet gratitude, when you said, I don't know what I'd do without you, I stored it like treasure. Maybe it was selfish, maybe it was foolish, but your happiness became my religion. I lived to make you laugh, to protect your peace, to offer comfort even when I was the one bleeding. My love for you was an echo I shouted into the void, hoping it would find its way back to me. But it never did. And still, I stayed. Because even in heartbreak, being close to you was better than being whole without you. Sometimes I think you knew, not everything but enough. Enough to sense the tenderness behind my concern, the weight behind my words. Maybe you didn't want to see it. Maybe it was easier not to. But there were moments, fleeting, fragile, when your gaze lingered just a heartbeat longer than necessary. When your laughter faltered, and your eyes searched mine like they were looking for something they couldn't name. I lived for those moments, even if they meant nothing, even if they were accidents of closeness. I told myself not to read into them, but I did. I couldn't help it. Love makes fools of us all, and I was the biggest fool of all, waiting, hoping, dreaming in silence. They say unspoken love is the most painful. They're right, but it's also the pure. I never asked you to change, never demanded you love me back. I simply loved you fully, and without condition. And if that's not enough, then maybe love was never meant to be easy. Maybe it was meant to break us open, quietly, beautifully, without warning. The hardest part wasn't loving you. That came easily, like breathing. The hardest part was pretending it didn't hurt. Pretending I was whole. Pretending I wasn't counting the seconds of every moment we shared. Afraid they might be the last before everything fell apart. You trusted me and I cherished that. I would never betray the comfort you found in me. But sometimes I wished you'd look closer. See the way my hands shook when you laughed too close. The way I swallowed my words when they trembled with truth. I wanted to tell you just once that I loved you in ways you couldn't imagine. That I dreamed of tracing the lines of your soul with the same care I gave your smile. But fear is a cruel warden, and I was always its prisoner. So I loved you in silence. Let the ache become a rhythm. Let the hope fade like a sunset I could never reach. And still, every time you smiled at me, I believed, just for a second, that maybe love was enough. Even secret love. Time moved, and so did we. Life shifted. You found someone who made you happy, someone who made you shine in ways I'd never seen. And I smiled. I celebrated, because I loved you and love, real love, wants happiness for its subject, even at the cost of its own. But that night after the congratulations, and the smiles, and the wine, I cried until my body felt like an empty room. I laid in bed and whispered your name like a prayer no God would answer. And in that darkness I finally admitted it. I had been in love with you for years, quietly, fiercely, completely, and you never knew, or maybe you did, and chose to protect me with your silence. I never asked. Some truths are better left unspoken, like messages in a bottle sent out to sea, never meant to return. I loved you, I still do, but I let you go that night not because I wanted to, but because love without freedom isn't love, and you deserve to be free. Still, even now, I sometimes wonder what might have been. What if I had told you? What if in one moment of courage, I had whispered the truth into your hands and let the chips fall where they may? Would you have laughed, cried? Would you have felt the same? I don't know. I'll never know. And maybe that's the price of love like this, the not knowing. The eternal almost, but in a strange way I'm grateful. Because loving you taught me what it means to give, without expectation. To cherish without demand. To be loyal without claim. You were never mine, but you were always my home. And even if the world never writes us into the same chapter, you'll always live between the lines of mine. A secret love, yes, but not a wasted one. Nothing so true could ever be wasted. You changed me, saved me, showed me the kind of love that doesn't need a label to be real. And for that I will always be thankful.